On today's Witch Word of the Day, Spellworders, it's Inkheart. The Inkheart series is a succession of 4 fantasy novels written by German author Cornelia Funk, comprising Inkheart 2003, Inkspell 2005, Inkdeath, that sounds like a metal band, 2007, and Inkworld, The Color of Revenge, 2024. That shit just came out. The books chronicle the adventures of teen Maggie Fulchart, whose life changes dramatically when she realizes that she and her father, a bookbinder named Mo, that's such a basic name, Mo, have the unusual ability to bring characters from books into the real world when reading aloud. Mostly set in northern Italy and the parallel world, the Plur world of the fictional Inkheart book. The central story arc contains the magic of books, their characters and creatures, and the art of reading.
Yeah, it's also a movie with Brendan Fraser. Yeah, that I never saw.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I like Brendan Fraser. I'd see anything.
Oh my gosh! And there's lots of very famous people in the movie. Actually, Paul Bettany is in it.
Wow.
So, yeah. But I think it's very fitting for what we do on this podcast with books and bringing things to life and celebrating all of that.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
Welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published lore of the Charmed universe.
In this night and in this hour, we call upon our fanboy power, bringing education and stupefaction to all of you.
Together, we will use our knowledge and reverence abundantly, but also find ourselves sassy and delightful.
Which is why we will truly be charmed.
So, hello, Spellworders. This is episode 136 of Words of the Witches. Today, we'll be talking about Book of Shadows. I know, memories. The Book of Shadows section of the Book of 3, Volume 2. But before that, we've got some stuff, Sean. Oh, wait, I forgot to tell you who I am. Hi, I'm Kevin, your resident Charmed resource. Someone else is here.
And I'm Sean. I'm someone else.
So, last week we had a poll about your favorite good witch, I guess.
Yeah, and you didn't put Willow, but you put Glenda, Galadriel, someone else, and someone else.
Hermione Granger and Mama Odie. I can't forget Mama Odie.
No.
So, yeah, I did not put Willow. I did not put Sabrina. I know a lot of people wanted those characters, but I figure they're both kind of WB shows. They're both kind of in that vein at the time, and I wanted to be completely separate. So I'm sorry I did not have the ones that people wanted.
That's okay. That's why
outside of the box. Yeah.
That's why I don't put Wolverine in a lot of our X-Men ones, because you know he's going to win. People are going to vote for Wolverine for almost anything.
Yeah. Which I think is kind of how our PS4 poll kind of went down that way, I think, because of the things. But how do you think it went down?
I'm guessing it was probably Glenda, just because Wicked just came out.
Okay. So, and I did put this on YouTube as well as Instagram. So I got a little bit of results from both. They're pretty comparable. So we both said Galadriel last week because we love her.
Mm-hmm.
But she got the least amount of votes. People hate her.
Oh my god, I hate the Spellworders.
They got 22 votes, 12%. And then after that was Glinda at 29 votes, 16%.
Wow, I was completely off.
Yeah. Then Mama Odie, 33 votes, 19%. And that fucking Hermione Granger got 93 votes, 53%.
Oh gosh.
People are obsessed with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And similarly, YouTube was very much the same. Well, Galadriel, there's only 14 people voted on YouTube, so we are, not as well known there. But Galadriel got 0 votes. I was very mad. I was very angry. Glinda got 7%. Mama Odie got 21%, and Hermione got 71%.
Wow.
So, okay. Honestly, Hermione would have been my least pick, my last pick of all those four. But
For me, my least would be Mama Odie, just because I don't know, she's not as interesting to me as the other witches, but also we don't know her as well as the other witches too.
Yeah. Our friend Jaleesa did write in and said she's like, definitely not Glinda. I think she's mad at her because of Wicked. Or because she thinks she's a bitch for not telling Dorothy about the shoes. Maybe that's it too.
Yeah, that's true. That was a bitch move.
Come on, Glinda. So moving on, let's get into this week's manor keeping.
You can't just vanquish an entire house, especially not our house. People are gonna notice.
Manor keeping.
Well, the problem isn't the manor. It's the manner in which it was treated.
A good witch is a clean witch.
So, last episode, our friend Jay, a faithful listener of the podcast, Jay, Sarek's Kingdom on YouTube, but he said, you know how we talked about how random the elders like can't fix aging statement was?
Yeah.
He brought me to my attention. He's like that's because they thinking about that because Leo couldn't heal Paige and Charmed from being old. I was like, okay, well then they definitely needed to word it about healing then, you know?
Yeah.
Because they just put they can't fix aging. That makes it sound completely out of context and doesn't make sense.
Okay,
they could have said
I
can't
see what they
heal
mean.
old age, you know?
Yeah.
They should have put that in the healing part of the powers, you know?
Mm-hmm. So
I'm mad at the book if that's what they meant. If it's not what they meant, then it still doesn't make sense. Also, I told you how, you know, our one elder was unidentified on the fandom, but because we mentioned Urban was listed in this book, now the fandom has changed to include a whole Urban page. So,
wow.
I know.
Look at you.
Thank you, Book of 3, Volume 2. Yeah. So I think that's all I had for that manor keeping then.
That was my vibrator.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that you have that in while we're recording. I mean, anything that makes it easier, makes the time easier for you. You do you, boo.
I will.
Oh, it's getting feistier. The settings on that thing must be insane. You should ship me the remote control. I can control it from here, and we can really have a good time.
Okay.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I don't know anymore.
You had a wonderful story you want to tell us, Sean.
Yeah. Okay. So as I've shared, I think on this podcast too, I'm going to school for cybersecurity. I am having a shit time finding a job in cybersecurity because I don't have a degree yet. So I decided, last night I was home alone, Alan's away. I was like, I'm going to do some magic. So I took my green candle finally that I have, because you're supposed to use a candle that's like the color of what you want. So I figured I want a better job to make better money. Green money. So I burned the candle and I did like chanting in my mind of like, I want a job where I'm happy, where I have good hours and good days off and make better money. So I chanted for a little while, and then I took the candle into the bedroom and I did a little sex magic. In other words, I jerked off. And when I was at my climax, I, repeated what I want, and then I blew out the candle. So it's crazy because for 4 months now, I've had this thing on LinkedIn saying like, I'm looking for a job. And I wake up this morning, this guy's like, hey, try this website. People have really good luck on this website finding tech jobs. So I thought, this is so weird. I don't even know who this guy is. And he randomly finds me this morning and says, check out this website. So my first thought was, it's a scam. So I looked at the website. It's legit. So I'm just like, that's crazy. After 4 months of this post being up, somebody finally posted it the morning after I do my little sex magic. So
See?
I figured I'd document it here and let y'all know how this goes. Let y'all know if I find a job and everything out of this.
We can keep the journal going. Oh.
Yeah.
play some Twin Temple sex magic now. Oh.
Yes, I love that song. I just saw them a few months ago.
Yes. I love them now. Thanks for introducing me to them.
You're welcome.
Cool. So, what a fun little section of manor keeping this week.
Section. I see what you did there.
A section. A manor keeping section. See, the vibrator was perfectly on brand.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, this is going to come back around.
But we're not here to talk about sex exactly today anymore.
Are you feeling
that was
okay?
our ice in the moment. I know. What is wrong with me? No, we have the Book of 3 Volume 2 to finish covering. Well, not finish, but like, that's back to sex again. Okay.
Silence.
We're gonna do part 3. Silence. Part 3. Book of 3, Volume 2, Section 3. Book of Shadows. The Book of Shadows. But did you notice it just says Book of Shadows? It doesn't say the Book.
Yeah, it does.
So that's pretty funny. Back to our Shadow of the Sphinx book over here. Book of Shadows. But yeah, this is the book written by Diana G. Gallagher, Paul Ruditis, and Phyllis Ungerleider. Yeah, so this is another one that's mostly just spells from Book of Shadows, and we're not going to read them to you. We're not going to focus on them. So I figure you can go ahead and read our first page of the precepts and rules, and these probably been listed the last Book of 3 when we came to the Book of Shadows section. They were listed there too, but we can reiterate them, and then I'll just talk about things that I noticed. So
Sure. All right. The Warren Line Book of Shadows cannot be touched by evil, with these exceptions. The charmed ones become evil. Charmed blood is used to disguise evil, or the charmed identities are stolen. It cannot be removed from the manor except for by a charmed one. It's a source of information regarding evil magical entities, but not evil mortals. Changes as needed, often by the hand of a Warren ancestor. Contains no references to fairies, elves, or trolls, which can be seen only by innocent eyes, mostly children. Cannot be photocopied. Page. Opens to appropriate pages to facilitate research. Has color-coded pages designated by page. Red are demons and warlocks. White is benevolent beings. And green is Nature.
And see, that only lasted one episode. They didn't keep them in there, so it's not like it's there all the time.
Yeah, they did it. Mm-hmm.
So
And
I wouldn't say, yeah.
I forget. Explain this one to me. Why can they see fairies, elves, and trolls as the charmed ones?
Well, they did cast a spell to see them in Once Upon a Time.
Okay.
Maybe once they were aware of their existence, then it just became part of them.
Okay.
So they had to believe. They had to have like their belief in it first. Like, I do believe in fairies, and then once they recognized that, then it became part of their normal.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So there were other sections of this book. This first one was spells and potions, just typical spells and potions that were done through season 6 through 8, that were happening in the Book of Shadows or performed by our charmed ones. Then we had a section of Graham's Little Black Book, which had 3 spells from her Little Black Book, which I guess that's it's funny. So she like had the Book of Shadows, but she's like, I have my little book of secret spells for on the go that she like made up, which is kind of funny. And she never entered those spells into the Book of Shadows. They're just like for her personal use.
Selfish bitch.
I know. So, and I'm knowing her, she probably did like pick her favorites from the Book of Shadows, like the most frivolous, like mundane, like bitchy spells, and put them in her book too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they even had like Patty's spell that she made up.
To reverse spells in the Little Black Book.
Yes. which is interesting. So she's like, my mom has this stupid book and she keeps using it on me, so I'm going to make my own spell to use on her.
That's funny.
It's like, I made it up when I was 9. Yeah. So that's kind of fun. And then there was the spells from non-charmed sources. So this is ones, from the Montana family, or the one that Gideon recited to summon the tribunal, things like that. The ones that were Magic School. And yeah. And then after that was like the final entries from the final episode. I'm not going to read those because we did read those when we covered the comics. We covered Comics Zero, so I don't need to read those again. But yeah, they're in here as well. Anything you noticed about the spells?
No, because I don't really remember the spells like you do. So if they were wrong, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, right. Like you watched them once. We've been over them when we covered them.
Yep.
What is cool about this section, this volume 2 book, is it is all episodes that we covered on Hanging with the Halliwells. So it's kind of cool that we had that. I do like that. Some of the spells featured in these later seasons often take spells from past seasons and make variations of them. So like the To Call a Lost Witch spell, the one that was used to restore Chris's powers, was kind of like the power switching spell in season 1, and the one they used in Ordinary Witches. So they do kind of take past spells and tweak them a lot in these later seasons, I noticed. The spell that they used to change Zanku into a pig in the finale of season 7 sounds odd, because all we see in the episode and all that's listed here is something wicked in our midst, in our homes where he exists, and then it cuts off. So clearly that's not the full spell. We are supposed to assume that is only part of the spell, because it cuts away from them, the sisters, at that point, and then moves on to where Zanku is, and that's where the spell is completed and he turns into a pig there. So I kind of have to finish off camera for that to make sense. We don't know what the rest of that spell was. So that's why people might look at that like, that's a stupid spell.
Yeah.
That's just general things that I noticed. I do have my put that in my canonical hat section.
Canonical.
So you may have noticed that the book was listing spells in the order that they appeared in this series. So they were starting from season 6 all the way through season 8. But then they included the Repo Manor spell, the one that Billy cast in season 8, right in the middle of season 7. And I'm thinking it is because it was a variation of the power switching spell used in Ordinary Witches that they put it there. Like, oh, here's a variation, and it's all the way in season 8, so maybe that's why. But it still bothered me because I'm like, this doesn't happen yet. I was also mad that the Tips for Future White Letters part of the book, it's listed, but it only provides the beginning and end lines. So it says, "To my sons Wyatt and Chris, love, Dad." I'm like, okay, official guide, where's the rest of it? Like, you should probably put that in there. So I took the liberty of, I want to provide it for you on this podcast, because this book did not. So it says, "To my sons Wyatt and Chris, here is some information to assist and guide you in the discovery of your newfound powers. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so you'll possess all the powers I have and more. Good luck. When you're ready, you'll receive a call from the elders. Emotions are tied to your powers. Use them to become stronger. Don't worry, White Letters can speak the language of their charges, whatever it is. Orbing. Concentrate, focus, and relax. It'll happen. Always remember that your family is just as important as your calling. If you feel out of balance, try meditating. It will help. Know that love is the key to your healing hands. Understand that whatever happens in the future, there is good inside of you. Love, Dad." So there you go.
There you go.
And I know they showed the full page in the episode. They didn't have not read the entire page, but they showed it. So you could have paused it and gotten that for your book. So
Lacy.
I'm perturbed. Yes. All right. Now they had the spell to contain the Woogieman or the Shadow is listed. The I Am Light one. And as I have stated before, it has many variations depending on which episode you watch. Some of them say a certain word, like go away or go away. Sew Away. They have different variations. And Scryhard, in particular, in season 7, does have a shortened version of it. But the book says that the shortened version in Scryhard was, I am light, I am one too strong to fight. Return to dark where shadows dwell. You cannot have this Halliwell. But the version that's actually performed in Scryhard is, I am light, I am one too strong to fight. So go away and leave my sight and take with you this endless night.
Oh.
So they totally did it wrong. Okay, so that's the section of that. That's all we got for this section. Super easy, super fun time. But I figured we would do a Grimoire game again, because last Book of Shadows we did do a Grimoire game.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire Games!
Some people think this is entertainment.
This one, no, don't be scared. Because last time I did quiz you on like the spells in the section, and I said, here's a question, you gotta find the spell. We're not doing that this time. This time, we're going to take the quiz together. There should be a link provided in the email I sent you. A BuzzFeed quiz.
Oh. Oh!
Yeah, we're going to take this little personality quiz about which charmed power you would have. And we can take it together. We can go over we can each, tell you what the question is and who's there. And we will play it together. And then at the end, we can each give what our result was. Isn't that
This is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sean, tell us what the first question is.
This one is, who is your favorite Halliwell sister? Yours is Prue, and mine is...
Paige.
Yay!
Ta-da! The next question says, who would you marry? And we have a long list of people here. Leo, Henry, Coop, Cole, Chris, Wyatt, Paige, Piper, Prue, or Phoebe? Who would I marry? I don't know.
Mine is obviously Cole. I'm obsessed with him.
I'm going to say Wyatt. I love me some Wyatt.
I would marry...
Even the Nickelback Wyatt.
Nickelback Wyatt.
Especially the Nickelback Wyatt.
Yeah. I would marry Henry. I'm like obsessed with him. I think him and Paige are so cute, and he like more so in the comics, like he knows how to like talk it out with her and deal with stuff.
Oh my gosh. Henry was I love him. Paige and Henry are the best. They're my favorite couple of the entire series. I will die on the hill all the time.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Which power would you like to have? Molecular combustion, premonition, fireballs, apportation, telekinetic orbing, or flight?
Do you need to be reminded what apportation is?
I do need to remember what apportation is.
Okay, so pretty much it's kind of like telekinetic orbiting, except they're summoning an item or something from wherever. It could be a place we don't know. It could be out of their butts or whatever. I don't know. But they pretty much just they summon an item or conjure an item to themselves, and that's apportation. Yeah.
So how's that different from telekinetic orbing?
I don't know. Maybe telekinetic orbing is just prettier, and you have to like see it first where it is.
Okay.
It's mostly something that like the demons do. Yeah, but it's very similar. So, what am I gonna pick? I'm gonna pick flight.
I'm gonna pick flight.
Yeah, I think flight. If they had actual orbing, then I would, or like some kind of teleportation. I put that, but it's not on here.
That was my thought exactly. I would take orbing over flight any day, because then you can get the same kind of feel as flight, but it's more useful because you can just teleport places.
Yeah, right. All right, the next one is, what is your favorite Charmed season? Mine is 3. Yours is 4?
Yeah, I think mine's 4. I'm going to say 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
right.
What is your other favorite TV show? American Horror Story, Bones, CSI, Vampire Diaries, Witches of East End, or Pretty Little Liars?
And most of these I haven't even seen. CSI, I've watched a lot of CSI, and I've seen like the first season and a half of American Horror Story. So I guess I have to say CSI just because I know it the
I've watched, I think, like season 1 of Vampire Diaries. Besides that, the only other show I've watched in its entirety is American Horror Story. So I'm going to say that.
Okay. I kind of figured that would be your answer. I need to watch Coven at least. I know I need to watch Coven because I think I'd like that season.
I have a love-hate with American Horror Story because it always goes off the rails. Like, it always starts off good. You're like, oh, good, we have a good season. Then it goes off the rails.
Oh, really? All right. Who is your favorite character? So last time we had who's your favorite sister? Now this is your other favorite character that's not a sister. Grams, fucking Billy Jenkins Batman, Patty, Leo Wyatt, or Chris Hallowell.
Ooh, that's hard.
That is hard. I'm going to say Patty.
I'm going in between Leo and Chris. I'm going to say Chris.
Okay. Oh, and that's our last question.
Oh no, I got my power.
What's your power? What's your result?
Telekinetic orbing. You can move or teleport objects through the use of orbs with the voice command.
Oh yeah, telekinetic orbing. You're such a page.
Yes.
Well, guess what my result was? Advanced telekinesis.
Oh.
So this is the one that Prue had in Morality Bites, my favorite episode, where she like blows up half the attic. So it says, moving multiple objects using only the power of one's mind, moving objects over vast distances, moving objects whose weight is beyond the strength of an average human being, and even beyond other users of basic telekinesis, releasing a wave of telekinetic energy that can cause objects to combust through high pressure. Advanced telekinesis.
Yay. So we basically got the power of our favorite sister.
Yeah, exactly. How fun.
How fun.
So then our final thing for next week is our PS4 poll.
Piper.
You mean it's just you and Prue, huh?
Phoebe? Phoebe, you there?
And a big hello to you too, Penny.
Come on, Patty. The rest is up to them.
Paige. My name is Paige. Another P, imagine that.
P is for poll. And this one is going to be a write-in poll. I'm being so different this episode, like doing all kinds of crazy things outside the box. This is a write-in poll. And I want people will be able to like just put in a response. It's not picking, it's not going to be like voting. It's just you get to write in whatever answer you want. So what is your favorite childhood fantasy book?
That's hard because I read a lot of books throughout my life at different ages, but they're considered childhood books.
Right.
I'm going to go with The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Okay. Yeah. I like that one. I have that somewhere. And I think Wizard of Oz was always my favorite movie, but as a kid I never read the book. I always had the book and I looked at it lovingly, but I never actually read it.
Yeah, I didn't read it till high school. Like when I was little, my aunt had bought me this book called Wide Awake in Dreamland, where like the author signed it, and that one I read a lot as a kid. But then I read Oz when I was a teenager and fell in love with the whole series. But then when I was older, I read Peter Pan finally, and that one's really good too. But like they're all childhood books, but at different points in my life.
Sure. I think as a kid, I really liked A Wrinkle in Time.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that book. They never made a movie that was good of it, though.
Yeah,
the problem.
I saw
they
the
made
not
like 3
good
different
movie.
movies of it. Yeah, so all the movies were like whatever, but I loved the book. I thought it was super powerful. It reminded me a little bit of Wizard of Oz, and I loved the sibling connection. So I think that was probably my favorite one as a kid. That or the Phantom Toll Booth was fun.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of responses we get. I'm getting excited to read people's favorite books in this literature, this literary podcast that we are.
Look at you making us all smarter.
I know. Read.
I'm the most smartest.
So, as I anticipated, this was a very short episode, but that's okay. We can have these short episodes. So, next week we'll be going into the Book of Black Magic, Section 4 of the Book of 3, Volume 2. But until then, where can we find you, Sean?
You can find me under Sean Perrette on all the socials. You can also find our other podcast, Solving for X, on all the socials. This week, Kevin has brought to us Charlie Peppers, a Hollywood writer and story editor who worked on Poker Face. Poker Face.
So, yeah, and you can find me at KJEEZY87 and this podcast at Words of the Witches on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I was recently on another podcast by Kaya Tree, where I got to talk about, Charmed and Charmed collecting and X-Men and all the queerness of collecting, which was kind of cool. It was a nice little conversation. So I had fun with that. If you want to check that out. Yeah. So until next week, Spellworders, your destiny still awaits.
You're ridiculous.